Today is Friday, September 5th, 2025, and it is Yom Shishi, the sixth day of the week. In Israel, Sunday is the first day of the week, and not Monday. It's a work day. Sunday is a regular work day. So Friday would be the sixth day of the week, Yom Shishi, the 12th day of Elul. 5785, the Torah portion is Shoftim. And it is the 13th day of Rabbi Elul on the Islamic calendar. And this is the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar. And it's a theory of everything that is formulated as a calendar. It's actually a few calendars in one. A solar, lunar, and a Daf Yomi calendar. Daf Yomi is the practice of learning a page a day of Talmud to complete over 7.5 years. Because there are about, I think it's the number, but it's around 2,711 pages. And if one page is learned a day, it's about 7.5 years. This was started in 1923, which interestingly was the year that Greece adopted the Gregorian calendar, which is the subject of research of mine. Why is it that Greece took so long to adopt the calendar that we have? The reason why today is September 5th is that it's the Gregorian calendar made by a reform of Pope Gregory the 13th in 1582, February 24th, 1582. It was the Intergravissimas papal bull of utmost importance. It was to correct some kind of drift that happened because of the Julian calendar, losing a few minutes each year to keep Passover / Easter the same, or something like that. But at any rate, this calendar is really meant to understand numbers and to put gematria in the, I guess the word is crucible of scientific analysis. There are people who think that gematria is not, well, it's just not taken seriously. It's kind of, some people think it's interesting, some people think it's cute, and some people think it's downright quackery, and it's not really even anything substantial. And in Judaism, it is accepted among certain circles. Others, it just depends on who you are. You're a gematria person or you don't. Gematria is the practice of ascribing a numerical value to a letter, and words become numbers. So, just for example, to prove that there is some substance to it, and this works not just in Hebrew, it's in Greek, it's in English. If you count the first letter of the alphabet, obviously is A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, etc. until Z, which is 26 letters, and you just count ordinarily. What you'll find is something very interesting. It doesn't take a genius to know the relationship between a lock and a key. A 5-year-old can tell you what the relationship is between a lock and a key, but not everybody knows that they are numerically equivalent. They have the same number, which means that if you count the amount of letters, the number of the letters, lock will have a numerical value of 41, and so will key. Because key, let's start with lock. Lock is, L is the 12th letter, O is the 15th letter of the alphabet, and C is the 3rd letter, and K is the 11th letter. If you add 12 and 15 and 3 and 11, you'll get 41. The same thing with key. K is the 11th letter, E is the 5th letter, and Y is the 25th letter. If you add 11 and 5 and 25, you'll get 41. So I'll just do one more so you can get the feel for it. It doesn't take a genius to know what the relationship between the words why and because. Why, a question of what is the reason, why, and because there is a cause. This is the answer. Because ... And everyone knows the relationship. It's very simple. But not everybody knows that why equals because, literally, numerically. Why? W is a 23rd letter. H is the 8th letter. And Y is a 25th letter. 23 plus 8 plus Y. 23 plus 8 plus 25 equals 56. Because B is the second letter, E is the fifth letter, C is the third letter, A is the first letter, U is the 21st letter, S is the 19th letter, and E is the fifth letter. If you add those numbers up together, it comes to 56. How is it that Y equals 56 exactly? Now, here are two examples that show a very clear demonstration of how gematria shows something substantial, a relationship that two words that are related to each other directly, either opposites or they're complementing each other, or they correspond to one another. They have the same number. Now, if someone is a skeptic, they might be inclined to say, what you just showed is very nice. However, there are so many other words that I can show you. Like, for example, how about paper and pen? Does paper equal pen? No, it doesn't. Paper equals 56 and pen equals 35. So then there goes your theory. How about light and dark? Light equals 56. I didn't plan this, but it happens to equal 56. It's going along the line. 50 and dark equals, I don't know what dark is, but I will find out right now. D-A-R-K. Dark equals 34. So 56 is not related to 34. So then you'll ask me all these questions, and I'll say, I don't know yet. But could it be that there are reasons for the ones that do match, and there are reasons for the ones that don't match? For example, there might be some reasons. There are some that match, but they're match if you reverse it. For example, hot and cold is what comes to mind. Hot, I think, is 43, and cold is 34. Right, I think so. Or it's vice versa. So yeah, H is 8, O is 15. So 8 and 15 is 23. And T is 20, so that's 43. Hot is 43 and cold is 34. So there's another connection where you just reverse the two numbers. Now, again, I'll go back to the skepticism. The skepticism in all of this is that saying there's so many words that are connected that, like read and book, or you read a book, but what's even direct opposites, like happy or sad, or intelligent, or trying to think of words that are clear and opaque. They don't equal each other. So my response to that is, this is an ongoing research that I found that sometimes if a number equals something in a different language, maybe in this case it won't have the same number in this language because it has to be this number in order to fit the piece of the puzzle in a different language. Now, I can't quote an example because I'm just I'm saying this off as I'm scanning, and I'm saying things that I kind of see, I kind of pick up in my mind, but I haven't hammered them down yet. But there are things that I've encountered that I said to myself, oh, it's not the same number, but there's a reason why it's different. And this just really fascinates me, this whole concept. A few more examples, just one from that work together in English and Hebrew. Like for example, if you read the book of Samuel in two places, I think Samuel and in Chronicles. Book of Kings or Chronicles. One of them, they write the history of how long King David reigned for. It says that he reigned for 40 years, and 7 years in Hebron, and 33 years in Jerusalem. It says the same thing in two places. And what's really interesting is that in Hebrew, David equals 14, which doesn't really relate to 40 that much. I mean, there's a 4 there, but that's not really, that's not so connected. But the name David in English is equal exactly to 40. That's really fascinating, that the Hebrew history, the Hebrew number of how long he reigned matches his name. Spelled D as the 4th letter, A as the 1st letter, V as the 22nd letter, I is the 9th letter, D is the 4th letter. Add those up, you'll get 40. So that's really interesting, and I would ask any skeptic, how would they account for that? How would they... Okay, they may not believe in it, they may think it's nothing, but how do they account for what caused that to be that way? One more, just to sum it up. If you read the Bible, you'll see the connection between Joseph and Egypt. Joseph was hated by his brothers. He was sold to Ishmaelites, and he eventually was brought to Egypt, sold as a slave. And the story goes that he was accused of misconduct with the Potiphar's wife, and he went to prison for many years. He interpreted dreams, rose to prominence, and eventually became the viceroy in Egypt and was second in command to all of Egypt. And he came up with a plan of how to basically save the world, save the economy of Egypt and the whole world during the years of plenty, supplied food for the whole world, and his family came down, reunited with his brothers, and he was known in Egypt, and he became in many ways equated with Egypt. Well, guess what? The name Joseph, spelled in English letters, spelled correctly, Joseph. If you add those letters, done it many times, put them in the calculator, done it by hand too, it equals 73. If you do Egypt, it equals 73. How did that happen? That's the question. Well, however it happened, I have my own theories, which I won't voice them now. I'm pretty sure about that, that's true. But whether you believe it came from somewhere or not, it is that way if you count it. That's what makes me fascinated by this calendar. This calendar is not about theories. It's not about philosophies or numerology in the sense that I think this is this way and this number represents this, so this. No. This goes to counting. This many letters equals this number and this word match. And that's been a work I've been involved in, and that's what this calendar is meant to do, but it's meant to put it in terms of the time and things that happen during the course of events, whether they're current events, historical events, your own personal life events, and can they be quantified? Is there a metric? Is there some kind of pattern or order that can be tapped into that can help you understand it better? So I've been finding some incredible things on a daily basis that match up. Some days better than others. Today I haven't found such really outstanding things, but I think it's always something interesting. Anyway, the numbers for today are, because it's the Hebrew and the Jewish calendar, the Hebrew and the English calendar, Gregorian. I added the Islamic calendar, as you heard earlier. Okay, on the regular calendar today, September 5th. September 5th would be box number 17. 17, the coordinates are C5. C5. Okay? The number for the Hebrew calendar today is the 12th day of Elul. The 12th day of Elul would be 37. Box number 37. Why? Because Elul or September or any month starts right here. It starts here, starts here, starts here. So September just started. Started a few days ago, but Elul started like almost 2 weeks ago. So you do Elul 1 is 23 and Elul 2 is 32. That's another way that it's arranged. It's arranged based on a sequence of 8 plus 9, 8 plus 9. And that's based on a verse in the Bible, in the book of Leviticus, chapter 25, around verse 20, concerning the sabbatical year. And that's a subject for a whole different video. I've explained it before, and I probably will explain it again, but that's for time. I just want to keep it brief. So, 37 is Elul 12. All right? 10, 11, 12. And so the numbers and the coordinates are B6. B6. And so then I have the practice of adding them together. And so that would be 37 and 17 would be 54. And 54 is equal to David, like an Ashkenazic way of saying David. David. There's a connection right there. I was just talking about David, and D-O-V-I-D is 54. There's many connections like that. When you know enough names and words, you start to see that the numbers match quite a bit if you could pick them out. The point is to know enough of a language or / languages, and seeing that there's some kind of correlation that, and if it happens in time, are there patterns? So that's the idea. So today, what I have is sometimes I resort to just a personal study, which won't mean a lot to most people. It's meaningful to me, but I think it would be more universal if I would describe something that happened in current events, in the media or in history, and I showed how the dates matched the numbers of what happened in the event or the names of the people. And so today's thing is, I came to a study. I am studying the 138 openings of wisdom by the Ramchal, and I started a new section, which was opening number 31. It talked about a concept in Jewish mysticism and Kabbalah called Adam Kadmon, primordial man, or like the archetypal. It's not really a physical man; it's more of a metaphysical, sort of a spiritual concept of a man, and through this idea, the worlds were formed, or something like that. I'm still trying to understand it, but the point is that the name Adam came up, and if you look at this calendar in Frank Baconis, it's in Gematria, it's their name, but Frank Baconis, it's like just a rearrangement of the name Francis Bacon. But what's interesting is that Frank Baconis, Gematria, they give values to, you can call it any name you want, but the cipher is that like a capital letter has a different value than a lowercase letter. Okay, and if you do that, Frank Baconis, the way their cipher is, that's cipher number 8, if you're counting from left to right, it's going to be 37. And today we're in box 37. So if I came across Adam today, and I'm in box 37 today, and I look at Frank Baconis, and it's 37, that's really neat. It's aligned. That's an alignment. And then in Hebrew, Adam, Aleph, Daled, Mem is equal to 45. And in Francis Bacon Gematria, Adam, spelled with an uppercase A, is equal to 45. So that's also neat. That's really cool. That means the Hebrew matches the English in Francis Bacon, which is the 7th cipher. Now, if I do the 17th cipher, which is really cool because this is box 17. I didn't even think about that, but it's true. Box 17 is the cipher 17 is reverse Frank Baconis. So you have Frank Baconis, and then you have reverse Frank Baconis. So like, let's just say, I don't know exactly. It's like capital A, let's say, is 1, and lowercase a is 27. Let's just say that is. Maybe it's reverse, but reverse Frank Baconis will start from Z, and then Z is 1, and then capital Z is 27, something like that. So if you go to cipher 17 in reverse Frank Baconis, then Adam is going to equal 177. But what's a rule about this calendar that I forgot to mention, or I have mentioned in the past, and I'll mention it now. It's called the rule of 40. That these are all, it's like the periodic table of elements. That each number here, it's 1 through 40, and it happens twice, so 40 and 40. And from these 40 numbers, these elemental numbers, you have every number ad infinitum, up or down. Why? Because the rule of 40 states that any number of these boxes will be considered the same number. If you add 40, it'll be in the same family. So 17 is 57, is 97, is 137, is, right, 177. So the 17th cipher on today, which is September 5th, which is the box 17, is in reverse Frank Baconis gematria. Adam equals 177. So I basically brought 3 examples of numeric values of Adam, and I'm learning it today. I didn't choose when I started to learn it. I didn't order how the chapters came in the book. I didn't even really think about reading this book until about a month ago. And yet, when we came to this point on the calendar, all of these 3 different numbers, now there's 36 different ciphers. So, and you think that that's a lot, but you'd be surprised at how you can have 36 numbers and none of them match. And it's quite a common thing to, let's say I put Adam, okay, let's say any Jill, okay, or Doritos, okay, let's say I haven't eaten Doritos in a year, and just today I ate Doritos, and Doritos equals 529, and it was May 29th, that day, let's just say, okay? That's really cool, but you'd be surprised at sometimes I put in Doritos and none of them, not even one of these 36 ciphers, not one of them match. So I think even 36 out of millions and millions of words, or hundreds of thousands of words, is not such great odds. So even if there's 36 ciphers, I still think it's really neat when 3 or 4 of them match in various ciphers. That's the idea of the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar.